Well, with week one now in the rear view mirror, it is time to look ahead to week two of the NFL season. Rob Wong joined alongside by Toronto Sun NFL columnist John Kryk. And John, since 1990, NFL teams that start 0-2 have only an 11% chance of making the playoffs. The Rams and the Cowboys are two winless teams that are looking to change that this weekend. The Cowboys, of course, without injured quarterback Dak Prescott, play the Bengals, while the Rams host the Falcons. Which team, in your opinion, is in bigger danger of going 0-2?
The Cowboys. Cooper Rush instead of Dak Prescott. I mean, that's a big drop-off, right? And, hey, let's be honest. Dak Prescott looked pretty awful in Dallas's last game last year, that playoff loss, the first round, to the San Francisco 49ers, and he didn't look much better with an even worse receiving core just this past Sunday night against Tampa Bay. So Cooper Rush, hey, he stuck in there last year when he subbed in for Dak in one game and won it. His family was on hand, and it was all this big celebration. But, boy, they're playing Cincinnati, which lost its first game at home with Joe Burrow throwing 3 interceptions in the first half and a fumble. And then in the second half, turned it over again. So you got to think the Bengals, the defending AFC champions, are going to come out and play a strong game. I don't see how Dallas wins that.
So what do you make of the Cowboys moving forward here then? Without Dak Prescott, it does seem like he may return a little bit sooner than the initial prognosis says, but this is about as bad as it could have been to start the season.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, we all knew that their offensive receiving core wasn't going to be nearly as good after they traded Amari Cooper to Cleveland. They just couldn't afford to pay him. But, boy, with Gallup out now, too, after that first game, and CeeDee Lamb really not doing anything, all of a sudden, Dak Prescott's going from surveying, trying to find somebody open, and he couldn't against that really good, and I think to start the season, underrated Tampa Bay secondary. So you've got the Cowboys. I'm surprised maybe they did take a hard run at Jimmy Garoppolo early this week, but boy, I'm surprised they're just going to kind of stick with Cooper Rush for however many weeks Dak is going to be out with that injured thumb on his throwing hand. It's going to be tough for Dallas to stay in the race. And if they fall 0-2, 0-3, you can just about end the season already.
So we talked last week about the Buffalo Bills and how they are Super Bowl favorites coming into this season. In fact, their odds have gotten better after that convincing win over the Rams on Thursday night. They now get Tennessee at home as part of a 2-game doubleheader on Monday night. Will Josh Allen and Buffalo continue to dominate this Monday?
I think so. Tennessee's kind of had their number the last 2 years since Josh Allen's kind of in year 3 in 2020 just kind of exploded into superstardom. They played at Tennessee that year, lost, and then again this past season. So what are we going to get this time? Tennessee, I don't think is as good a team for whatever reasons. They were life and death against New York Giants and ended up losing that game on Sunday, and not very impressive fashion. I mean, even if they'd won, it would have been, what kind of team is this compared to the one that won its division the last 2 years? And meantime, as you said, Buffalo against the Rams. The few teams hit the ground running offensively, and I guess even to be honest, Buffalo didn't. They only scored whatever it was, 10 points, I think, by halftime against the Rams. But second half, they looked as good as we were seeing late last season, and that's saying something. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league right now, in my opinion. I have him ranked number 1 in my QB rankings to start the season, or at least after week 1. And I think he's going to keep it going against this Tennessee team, which I think is vulnerable defensively.
And finally, the other Monday nighter, of course, has the Vikings taking on the Eagles. Two teams feeling pretty good about themselves right now. And this Vikings team, Kirk Cousins, has definitely surprised some people, I think, after that Week 1 performance. Can they continue it on the road in the city of brotherly love?
Well, just go to any amusement park that you live near and watch the roller coaster go up and down in a corkscrew and around. That's kind of Kirk Cousins as a quarterback, in my opinion, the most enigmatic guy. You watch him one week, and like this past week, and you go, he really is just about an elite quarterback, or maybe he is an elite quarterback, and then the next week out of nowhere he'll throw 3 interceptions. Maybe that's what he does this week. The thing I'm most looking forward to about that game is the way the NFL has scheduled this week 2 for the first time doubleheader. You got Buffalo starting at 7:15 Eastern, and then this one starting at 8:30 Eastern. And so it's almost as though they're trying to time it so that as soon as they hit halftime of the Bills-Titans, this game will start in Philly with the Vikings. And so if Kirk Cousins, hey, when he's ever hot, he gives his team a chance to win. And when he's not, it just seems, at least in the previous regime under Mike Zimmer, they really didn't have a chance. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep it going, because Jalen Hurts was a one-man wrecking machine against the Lions in their Week 1 win.
Well, it should be another great week of NFL action. You can find John's work at the Toronto Sun and on Twitter at John Kryk.